Well, we were beaming what happened next on Raw because it was finally time for the Cody countdown, which they got him in right about at the top of the 10 o'clock hour. Amazing how these things work out for all you channel changers out there. Somebody might have stopped on Cody. And you know what? Here's the thing. This is the atmosphere for Cody Rhodes. He's a sports entertainer.
That's it. Yes.
And the entrance and the Cody countdown and the presentation for this audience, and he's so well spoken. He is right now. He's Vince McMahon's dream of a talent in that he looks good. He wears a suit. He dresses up. You can push him as a star, and he goes out and he delivers verbally, and he can work. But you know what I miss about wrestling? I miss, instead of one guy coming out in a suit and giving a well-spoken dissertation for 15 minutes, I miss two fucking guys foaming mad, screaming at each other for 2 minutes in some type of entertaining and believable way, and then fucking fighting and trying to pull each other's goozle pipe out. We don't get that out of wrestling anymore. But he told the story, Cody did. He compared Seth winning his way up while he lost and scratched and reinvented his way to the top and was revolutionary. And he said, I'm never going to be the American dream, so why not embrace the nightmare? If he was like the world's ugliest person, like the lost feather-bottom cousin, and the sight of his face brought children to tears and made grown women scream, and then you can embrace the nightmare, but he's not a bad-looking guy. What about him is nightmarish? That's rhetorical.
His booking.
Well, it was, but now it's not. Anyway, Seth Rollins is not going to deny him his second chance, and he's going to have to kill him to do it. And he then challenges for a rematch, the third time's the charm, in Hell in a Cell. Now, this might have gotten over better had they not just had one of the worst cage matches in the history of wrestling on this same fucking television program. I don't know if anybody thought about that. Maybe I was a different writing crew is in charge of Seg 1 and 2 is in charge of Seg 10 or whatever. But so while we still had the bad taste of the cage match we just saw in our mouth, he challenges for a Hell in a Cell. But obviously, with Seth and Cody, their matches have been great. Not a ton of fucking heat like people pulling out switchblades and, trying to come over the rail, but they've been very excellently wrestling matches. So, of course, the first thing that Cody said at the start, did you hear this, Brian, was that Seth Rollins isn't here tonight, so I'm going to say these things. And as soon as he challenges Seth Rollins to a match, Seth Rollins appears on the screen, not from on location from Honolulu, but from the back of the fucking building that they're in. So why say he's not there if he's there? I don't. So Seth, it was live because he reacted to everything that Cody just said. So, and then he took forever. He laughed forever. Ha ha ha. And then he took forever to say, yes, I'll fight you in a Hell in a Cell. And then Cody said, then I'll see you in hell. Do you know there's a Hell, Michigan?
I did not.
There is. As a matter of fact, our local Louisville weatherman, when I was a kid back in the 70s, used to give the weather in Hell, Michigan every summer when he would say, and in Louisville, Kentucky right now, it's hotter than hell. And that was more entertaining than... What'd you think about Cody and Seth? We're going to see it a third time.
On the topic of Seth, as I said a couple weeks ago, if you go into this with the understanding that his character is on angel dust, it makes complete sense. So I kind of get him now. I kind of get him. I kind of get into the whole PCP wrestling thing. Cody, I don't know what it is, but as soon as he starts talking, I start laughing. And I look forward to his segments because I get such a kick out of them. It's his preposterous way of speaking, and then the words he chooses to use with his preposterous way of speaking. With that said, and I know a lot of people think I hate Cody. I don't hate Cody. I've called his bad shit bad, his good shit good, and I called everything in AEW fairly, it turns out, and correctly after the fact. But what I want to say is I agree with you. He made the right decision. Whatever caused him to have that decision, whether it was Tony Khan wanting to do something different or him wanting more, this was the place for him. He fits in perfectly. They give him bad shit. Obviously, he applies his own bad shit. But he's so with it in the ring. Like, you can't look at him and think this guy is just another actor. There's something off, but you can't figure out what exactly it is. He's really good at their style of stuff. The fact that they have a countdown clock on the show, they've never done that for anyone. Did they do that for Mike Tyson? I mean, who did they do that for, ever? But he's been a highlight of their show, and his in-ring work has been spectacular in WWE so far. Of course, he's working with Rollins, who, no matter what you say about his character or anything else, has always been extremely talented in the ring.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes is right now the highlight of WWE.
Make that, folks, of it what you will.
But he's been good. But his stuff, other than, look, the promo's not making any sense. This is not a new thing. He was doing this in AEW, rambling promos that went nowhere, that you couldn't figure out what exactly his point was going to be. In this case, it turns out the point was, I beat you once, I beat you twice. That's not good enough. I want you in a cage.
And I'll beat you again.
But Cody's doing good stuff. He's the one person there you can't complain about any of his stuff. And if his promos don't make any sense, they never make sense. He doesn't know what he's saying out there.
And I'm telling you, close your eyes and think about Dusty's cadence, but with Cody's vocabulary. And you start hearing it.
I think that's what Cody thinks about, because there's a few times he slips into it, it seems like.
Anyway, well, let's slip out of it, because there's more to the show.